guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over a pretty entertaining email that was sent from a subscriber. It's from a guy, he's 50 years old, and he's going to share his story how at the last minute he left his definitely wacko fiancée at the altar because he realized just how nuts she was and what kind of life he was going to have if he was going to marry her. However, you're going to see in this guy's story, he doesn't have a very good track record when it comes to relationships. You're going to find out that he's been married and divorced 3 times. So you'd think after that, no guy would ever get in a relationship again, but there are guys out there who are like that. But you're going to see, guys, how when he meets this girl, and you're going to, as he describes it, she's absolutely beautiful, a runner-up to a Miss Universe contest. She's from South America. He didn't mention what country she's from. So absolutely stunning. And you're going to see in his story, guys, how when he first meets her, he plays it cool, does all the pickup artist stuff and all that, and it works. And he hooks up with her within 48 hours. But then very quickly, that's not obviously his real self, and he completely got mesmerized by her beauty. And once, obviously, his true colors came out, that's when she saw him for what he was, and he was just another guy that she could take advantage of, and that's what happened. So there's a lot of things to learn from in this story, guys. Things, as I read this, there's going to be a lot of times you guys are just going to want to just scream out loud and want to do just slap him for some of these things that he does. But this is what happens when guys they see a beautiful woman and they can't control themselves. So I'm sharing this to help you guys out, for you dating relationship guys, that you get yourself a good-looking girl, and I'm going to assume you will, if you guys are really working on yourselves being the best you can be, that you don't let it go to your head and lose your minds, and otherwise you can expect some of this crap. So it's definitely entertaining. All right, so he says, hey SSM, in the story below, there are no names or references to specific places. Not only do I not want any of this to get back to my ex, I'm a major in the Army on active duty orders. Please, even if my name is in the email address, keep it anonymous. Bro, everything is anonymous. And for you guys that write in, I will never share your name, email address, anything like that. Just, I won't do that anyway, but just if you want to mention that, just to make sure, no problem. You're safe. He says, at least you may have a chuckle at my expense. Anyway, my story is below. I have been RP'd for a long time. I found your channel back in 2018 and can honestly say I have avoided 1 or 2 landmines because of it. Well, I started the channel in 2020, so either you mixed up the date or maybe you have been mixed up with somebody else. But regardless, thanks for watching, bro. Nonetheless, as they say, we all go through a moment of weakness. Dude, you go through many, many moments of weaknesses in your tale. I almost tied the knot a couple of years ago, but red flags kept me away from possibly yet another huge mistake in my life. This story might be good for other guys to learn how important red flags are. Once you see enough of them, walk away and don't look back. Amen, brother. Absolutely. But there are lots of red flags, and you kept on going. He says, I'm now 50 years old. Over the last 30 years, I've been divorced 3 times. Smack. 3 times, and you almost got married a 4th time? I can understand, and I'm sure we all can understand, messing up once. You're young, you get married, you don't know any better, like many guys. It doesn't work out, okay, you learn your lesson. But then a 2nd time, and yet a 3rd time? My man, you keep on going like this, you're going to end up like Henry VIII. You still got plenty of years left in your life. You're going to end up having 5 brides, 6 brides. No. You're banned from getting married anymore. You're done. 3 times. Good Lord. I've also been a bunch of long-term and short-term friends with benefits and one-night stand relationships. Some concurrently. I've always been the dumper, not the dumpy, except once. Each of those can make for an interesting story for some other time. He says, I'm a lawyer by trade, but at the same time, I've been an officer in the Army Reserves for many years. Because of a hurricane where I live a few years ago, which pretty much took me out of the legal practice, I went on active duty orders and have been ever since. Back in 2020, I was in Texas with orders for Europe that would kick in at the end of the year. This fellow officer introduced me to a friend of his wife's. I was expecting a troll, but when, let's call her M, walked in the room, my jaw dropped as I was in front of the hottest woman I've seen in a very long time. And here we go. Hottest woman you ever saw in a long time. It turns out that she'd been the first runner-up to a Miss Universe title in her country in South America some years prior and had moved to the States in a troublesome migratory status. in a troublesome migratory status. She was about 10 years younger than me. Immediately, the pickup artist training I'd been beating boredom with during quarantine kicked in, and I came to my senses. I pretty much kicked the pedestal right from under her feet and laid it on really thick with every dirty trick in the book. Either the universe conspired, the planets aligned correctly, or that PUA shit actually works. The thing is that within a couple of hours, we were sucking face, and within 48 hours, she was in my bed. Notice he said he knocked the pedestal out from under her. Now let's look at this situation. Smoking hot, beautiful woman. If she was obviously a runner-up at Miss Universe contest, even though obviously she's older, she's still hot. And that is her number one card. Now most guys, when they see a woman like that, they melt. And they start kissing her butt and all that immediately. Well, this guy didn't at first. And right here, 48 hours, they're hooking up. A couple hours after he met her, they're already making out. So that stuff can work, but the thing is, most guys are putting on an act, and eventually the women can see it's an act, and that's when all the bullshit begins. And you're going to see here, that stuff doesn't last long for this guy because obviously she's smoking hot. I was geared up for a pump and dump. I don't know what happened, but we started to constantly talking to each other on the phone every day and going on weekend trips to other parts of Texas. You don't know what happened. I'll tell you what happened. She was, as you say, the hottest woman you saw in a long time. And I'm sure that it was the connection and the chemistry was amazing and fireworks were going off in the sky and blah, 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 blah. She was hot. The P word was awesome. End of story. You melted. And notice, talking to her all the time, texting her all the time, getting together, weekend trips, week trips, all that stuff. Boom, boom, boom. You, my friend, were demonstrating high interest in her. And so very quickly, your nonchalant, indifferent, kick her off the pedestal attitude ended real quick. And it isn't long before she notices this. And guys, you'll see what happens. He says, my walls were coming down. I started to fall for her. Smack. We had this super crazy chemistry between us, but I was trying to simp after her, which I caught myself doing more and more. See? Just like plenty of guys before you and plenty of guys after. And you're going to see this is why this woman behaves in the way you guys will see in this story, because she knows she can do whatever she wants. She'll never have it. She has a never-ending supply of guys that will pretty much do anything because she's smoking hot. This is why these gals act this way. And also, she's definitely nuts. Hot crazy scale. He says, the thing is, I caved and proposed to her about 23 days after we had first met. Smack. 23 days. You want to talk about the ultimate simping. You want to talk about the ultimate demonstration of how you're so into her. 23 days. Would any man of true value ever consider doing that? The way I'm trying to help you guys be, even after 23 days, maybe at best you get a meal. Then you buy a meal after a few dates with just drinks. But 23 days you propose to her. That communicated to her, I can do anything I want to this guy. I can get him to buy me things. I can get him to do this. Proposing to me after 23 days. You see, guys? And watch how her behavior changes immediately. She immediately said yes. Everything was like a dream until we hit the 30-day mark. It was like the bell rang and we had round one during our first month dinner celebration. We started arguing and fighting from that moment on. What happened to all the chemistry? What happened to all the magic and the fireworks and all that shit? You showed your hand. This woman is so amazing, I'll propose to her after 23 days. And he said, fighting and arguing from that moment on, because she's got you. Now, remember, when a woman doesn't respect a guy, she's not going to love him. And if she doesn't respect him, she's going to test, and more testing, and more testing. And the guy keeps failing the test, more testing, more bullshit. Watch this. A lot of lessons in this story, guys. He says, she would try to disrespect me, and I would fire back as I was not letting her steamroll me. Okay, good. I'm glad you stood up for yourself a little bit. The only reason I didn't just drop her right then and there was because she never did it in front of anyone, and no one could ever tell we were having such severe arguments. No, I'm not buying that, bro. The reason you didn't drop her is because you were so infatuated with her because of her beauty. That's why. And you kept convincing yourself, oh, no, it's because of our chemistry and magic, or it's just because she doesn't do this in front of other people. No, it was her beauty. We're bros here. Let's be honest. It's because her smoking hot body and all that. Said here, it all stayed in private. Around that time, a bunch of other red flags came up. Ah, shocker. Too many to ignore. Apart from the arguing, this woman was a money drain. It wasn't all going out and hanging out, which was mainly my idea. She would walk into stores, put all kinds of crap in the shopping cart, and when we got to the register, she would even faint at paying at anything. She also expected me to pay for her house, her car, her groceries. Even if I was away most of the week, which since I was stationed 2 hours away from where she lived. I bought her a computer and a bunch of other things she needed for her self-employment, including an iPhone when hers went bad. I spent thousands of dollars expecting her at some point to be more economically sustainable. To no avail, she expected me to pay for everything because husbands take care of their wives. Smack. All this because she's hot. Bro, you probably would have saved yourself a whole lot of money, a whole lot of frustration, if every now and again you hooked up with a professional. A pro. You spend a few $100s depending on what it goes for. That's that. Save yourself a whole lot of money compared to what you spent on her. Because that's the real reason you're staying with her, because she's so hot. Let's be honest here. But look at that, guys. After he proposes to her, all of a sudden her behavior changes within a week. Fighting and drama, and all of a sudden, a money drain. The plan was to get married before I left for Europe. Hire a lawyer to square away her immigration status. There's another one. Now she can become a citizen. After which she would join me. All paid for by me, of course. Why can't she pay for anything? There's a question for you. There's a question you should have addressed. Honey, I think it's time you pay for some of these things. Oh, you don't love me. I started to get the feeling I was being a dunce and that she would actually take off the minute she got her green card. There you go. As a contingency, and being a good lawyer, I asked for a prenup. She went ballistic. There's a surprise. The fight over it was epic. She eventually caved because she could never answer whether she was marrying me or the assets I provide. We went back home. In Puerto Rico, prenups are more robust and tend to hold up in court much better than they do in the mainland. Also, she was going to meet up with my daughter, who was 10 at the time. The trip was hell. The second she got on the plane, she put some headphones on and could not be disturbed for anything until we were ready to deplane, not even holding hands. Maybe that was a good thing since we were there were constant hurtful arguments ever since we got on the Uber and never stopped throughout, with the only respite being on the plane rides to and from. So bro, the second you propose to her, there's been never-ending fights and drama. She's treating you like crap. She's getting you to pay for all these things. You should have been out of there the second that bullshit started. Your gut told in the beginning, okay, she's a hookup, pump and dump, and we're done. But you got mesmerized with that beauty and that P word down there. That's what happened. You should have ended this a long time ago. And marrying this girl who is just never-ending fights and drama with, you know, guys, it's like the hotter a woman is and the more attached to her we become because of that hotness, the more we just let shit go or just turn a blind eye or a deaf ear and not listen to anybody else. It's amazing. When I broke up with my previous girlfriend, I asked for the engagement ring and I kept it. M was the same size, so I gave it to her when I proposed. I spent about $1,000 on it. She looked it up and got an undervalued valuation and constantly complained that the ring was too cheap. Well, she was so in love with you, she should have been happy for a candy machine ring on her finger. But nope. I just told her that her evaluation was wrong and that we could upgrade it eventually. She never obeyed it, and this was a constant point of conflict. Oh yeah, I can just feel the love that she has for you, man. At night, she would get mad if I got up to go to the bathroom, which I did a lot. Not because of my age, but because we were constantly drinking and partying when we got together. Also, she hated to be touched when in bed or watching TV. No cuddling. Again, a gal that is so in love with a man usually can't keep her hands off you. But notice after the 23-day proposal, everything changed, and now she's not touching you. He says, that was making it increasingly difficult to have intimacy. On Sundays, she just wanted to be in bed in the dark. I'm going to read that again. On Sunday, she just wanted to be in bed in the dark. Oh, she's one of these weirdos that locks herself in the room in the complete darkness all day. Yeah, she's a keeper. She wouldn't get up to fix breakfast or anything. I would get tired of being hungry, so I would get up and get takeout and come back. She wouldn't get up to eat. She wanted to eat in bed, and then she would complain that I left crumbs on the bed. Brother, these are shit tests. She's doing all this crap to see what she can get away with, and you let her. So it's like, okay, what else can I do to see what this guy, if he'll stand up for himself? How much bullshit can I put this guy through? Again, proposing after 23 days. No high-value guy would have ever in a million years put up with this shit, let alone propose to her after 23 days. And I'm going to keep coming back to this 23 days until I hit this in so hard that this guy and anybody else hears this understands the madness and the problems that you caused. I'm not saying she's not a complete a-hole. She is, but I can't just blame it all on her and say this guy's innocent because this guy enabled her behavior. Anyway, also, she smokes when she drinks. I smoke all the time. Bro, you need to quit that shit. As a personal trainer, I'm telling you right now, quit the fucking smoking and really scale back on the drinking. You want to live a long life? You got a 10-year-old daughter. You want to be there to see her grow up and grandkids? Cut the fucking smoking and cut down the drinking big time. Okay, I said my piece. Did my lecture. When we weren't drinking, she complained about the smell. I basically had to burn my clothes and steam clean myself after smoking to accommodate her. During the time we were together, we broke up about 3 times. Again, signs from the universe. She should have broken up right away and left and never looked back. Once we were at her place and she told me to get out and we were through. I said, okay, and I started to pack. I wasn't done packing when she apologized and embraced me and started kissing me. We went to hang out, but the fighting resumed shortly after. So notice when he walked away. She told him to leave, it's over. He's like, okay, and left. And all of a sudden, the water works, and please come back, please come back. Remember I tell you guys about walking away and the power of it. And also, understand this woman loves drama. She loves turmoil and drama, gets her excited. We traveled to get married. Even though in Vegas you can basically get married in shorts and flip-flops, she wanted the chapel and the ceremony and the dress and all that. Of course she did. Of course, all paid by me. Because I had to get back to Texas to work, we got there on a Tuesday to get married on Saturday afternoon, hang out with her friends and her sister, and travel back on Sunday. The days leading up to the wedding were fun, but the arguing only stopped around her friends. On Thursday, we were hanging out with her friends when out of the blue she announced that all the intimacy we were having was going away. This caught me by surprise. I told her that if this was a joke, it wasn't funny. She doubled down and said that the only reason we had been having so much you-know-what was because this was new. But that she never had the urge and that from now on, there would be little or no bedroom fun. So let me see if I have this straight. She is a gold digger. She's getting this guy to pay for everything, which he does. It's his fault. Never-ending drama. And now, she's going to take away the bedroom fun. So, this guy's getting nothing out of the situation. Before, he was doing all the drama, spending all the money, but yeah, he has a smoking hot chick on his arm, and he got to nail her and all that. That's great. But now she's taking that away. Back to what I said in the beginning about just get an escort. Get a pro. Once a month, twice a month, whatever it is. You'll save a lot, you'll save a hell of a lot of money and bullshit. He says, for me, that was it. The straw that broke the camel's back. I told her that if things were like that, to not show up to the wedding because I was going. I tried to conceal my mood in front of her friends, and they had no idea what was going on. When we got back to the hotel, she would not get in the Uber for some stupid reason, and that is now besides the point. So we wound up walking a couple miles back to the hotel. To me, since I was pissed, it was nothing. It was late at night, so she was scared and complained the whole way. I would have been like, okay, fine, you can walk back to the hotel. I'm getting in the Uber, and I'll see you there. Not that I would be with this woman, but you get my point. The next morning, I tried to get something going. When she refused, I went into a rage, screamed to her that the wedding was off. I got dressed and went down to the closest bar within the hotel. Over the course of the day, she called and texted 1,000,000 times. Eventually, she found me, not yet drunk, but pretty buzzed. She tried to make amends, and we wound up going back to the room for some bedroom fun. Again, He said, that's it, we're done, walked away, it's over, and all of a sudden, boom, she's back to chasing him, pursuing him, kissing his ass, and now they're hooking up. See how it works with her? The man walks away, he shows his strength, she then chases after him. She uses her body, the sleeping together, to rope him back in, and we're back to the bullshit. The only way that a guy can keep a gal like this is to essentially constantly keep her on edge that he's going to walk away. Keep her as low on the totem pole as possible. Treat her like crap. Then she'll keep coming back to that guy. But a woman like this is not relationship material at all. At all. Okay. He says, she was trying to convince me that what she said was because she was drunk and didn't mean it. I was not so sure. That night we went hanging out with her sister and one of her friends. We had fun, and on the surface, the hatchet was buried. I wasn't so sure. When we got back to the hotel, I announced that I was going to have my bachelor party, as she had hers a few weeks prior. Because of COVID, all the clubs were closed, so I went back to the hotel. By the time I got back to the room, I was pissed drunk, and it was 4 a.m. Bro, you need to cut back on the drinking. But if I was with her, I'd be drinking a lot too. But now that you're no longer with her, please, I want you to live a long life. At some point, she left for her sister's room to get ready. This was a Vegas wedding, but she still wanted the whole not seeing each other thing before the ceremony. I was still too drunk to react to her comments as she left. I woke up about half an hour prior to the wedding with one of the most severe hangovers of my life. I drink too much and know the best way to get rid of a hangover is with tomorrow's hangover. So I started to chug whiskey while I got ready. I did the best to put my mess dress uniform together, having whiskey slugs the whole time. By the time I was dressed and got the Uber to the chapel, I arrived about an hour late. You were late for your wedding? Yeah, I can only imagine her. I would love to be there and see her there, fuming, steam coming out of her ears and throwing a tantrum. What does this say, bro? Really? I was already sort of drunk again, so it took me a minute to find the chapel where the ceremony was supposed to take place. I grabbed the door handle, and at that moment, I could hear blowhorns, alarms, blowhorns, and a very loud PA system saying, "Do not open that door." All the fighting, her princess money draining attitude, and the promise of making me a married celibate monk came pouring in like a waterfall. Really? It took you this long to realize this? I turned around and left the premises, never opening the door. I found a bench not too far away and finished the bottle of whiskey. I passed out. I woke up 3 hours later. My phone was blowing up with texts from M. Based on those messages, I still think there is a South American hitman looking for me. If you don't have a South American hitman looking for you, then she's going to be after you and will take care of you. I never replied. I went back to the hotel and passed out again. She was gone. Got up and checked out with a hangover as bad as the one from the previous day. I texted her as I knew she was going to miss her flight, concerned that she would not be able to make it back. She texted that she has sold the rings and gotten a plane ticket back home. There's a surprise. Boom. Selling those rings, getting whatever remaining cash she can get out of this guy. She also texted to leave her alone and never bother her again. I complied. She must have pickpocketed the difference because the engagement ring and the wedding ring were worth at least $3,000 altogether. I flew back alone. It was a little over 120 days since I met M. 6 months of your life of all this bullshit and drama. And remember how it all changed after he proposed to her after 23 days. I spent a lot of money on plane tickets, the wedding venue, and the rings. I also spent a lot of money on her clothes, apartment, and so many other things. At the end of it, I had maxed my credit cards out and taken some money out of my savings, which was forbidden as this money was sacred for investments later on down the line. After all was said and done, I was actually relieved since I'd gone through the wedding. I would be broke and struggling to support this woman. I didn't care about all the money I lost. I came out of it ahead, and in a short time later, I've recovered, replenished the spent savings, and paid off my credit cards. A short time later, I left for Europe and never looked back. Well, bro, I'm glad you got yourself back on track, but imagine all that money that you spent on her, and nobody should be maxing out their credit cards. I mean, they'll really hammer your credit. But if you married her, I guarantee you she'd become a citizen, would milk it for everything it's worth, and then boom, you'd be gone, and she'd be on to the next sucker to milk him dry. You never mentioned if she'd been married before, or if she had, how many times she'd been married. Not that you could probably get a truthful answer out of her. Regardless of the horror story, Em and I used to have a lot of fun. When the chips were laid down, we had very nice experiences. She's not a bad person. I remember her fondly. Smack. What are you talking about, dude? Maybe in the first 23 days before you proposed to her, she was fun and put on the act that she wasn't a bad person, but everything you described in this story tells you 100% that she is not a nice person. She's a user, she's a gold digger, she's a drama queen, starts drama, starts bullshit, plays mind games. I think you're just looking at the past, as they say, through the rose-colored glasses. That's what I think. No, this woman was just... If your gut told you don't marry her, then obviously that she was a big problem. And he says, actually, she was so pretty that often other girls stopped her in the streets to tell her just how pretty she is. There you go. That's why she treats men like she does, because she even has women. And women hate each other. Women hate beautiful women, but they'll still kind of compliment them, but they really hate them. She has them telling her how beautiful she is. So, of course, I guarantee you, since she was a little girl, she's been treated like the freaking queen because of how pretty she was as a kid, and then on up, and how she's treated by men. And she'll be doing this the rest of her life. You dodged a bullet, my man, at the last minute. And I mean the last minute. It says, the red flags could not be ignored, and the beauty is only skin deep. All the signs were there. I would have gone through hell before getting yet another divorce. In hindsight, if I just kept things casual as long as they would go, or until I left for Europe, at least the expense would have been a lot less. Yes, exactly. In any case, I avoided a huge landmine and lived to tell the tale. The moral of the story is to pay attention to the red flags. It will keep you out of trouble, as well as saving a lot of time, heartache, and money. Yeah, that, and also not letting yourself becoming completely mesmerized and hypnotized by a smoking hot woman's beauty. Look what we did to this guy. I know this is a little long, but believe me, you're getting the short version. Thank you, SSM, for reading my story, which I know is no piece of literature. Well, it's entertaining, bro. I hope this is helpful for some other sap who's about to make the same mistake I avoided. I wish you the best. Well, thank you, bro, and I wish you the best, too. And so, like I said earlier in the video, you are banned from getting married. That's it. 3 divorces, and you almost married this broad, you are banned, okay? Quite frankly, you're banned from relationships, and you need to really do some self-reflection to figure out why you did what you did. I pointed these things out because you're mesmerized by the pussy, but seriously, look how close you came. Look at how much money you spent on her. That money could have been saved. That money could have been invested. You get my point? But I want you to not make this mistake again. I want you just, if relationships are your thing, then okay, you got to understand, take a step back, try to keep it casual, and you're just not allowed to get married. You can't be trusted with yourself, and you've demonstrated that. I'm glad you had finally cut off at the end, thank the Lord, so you are making progress, but seriously, bro, you are banned from getting married ever again, okay? And so right now, I want you to go a while without getting any relationships and really figure out what you want in life and all that, and if next time you meet a woman that is that attractive and you're hot for, I want you to remember this story, your experience. I want you to remember me doing this video and pointing out every step of the way where things went wrong. And don't do these things again. But anyhow, I appreciate you sharing your story. It was a good one. It will help dudes out there, because a lot of guys fall into the same trap of they finally get themselves a smoking hot woman for whatever reason she's attracted to them, whether it's genuine or because of resources, and they just lose all senses. I guarantee you, bro, that if she was just average looking, you would never have proposed to her after 23 days. You never would have had the amazing chemistry and connection to her like you thought you did. You did because of her looks and her beauty. That's why. If she was just an average chick, you probably would have just dated and pumped and dumped and that's it. But because of her beauty and I got a prize, that's what happened. So, all right, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Let this guy know what you think. I can't wait to hear the comments in this story. And also, guys, you got a great story you'd like to share, by all means, email it to me, strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. Again, I will keep your information anonymous, like I said in the beginning of this video. But just give me some time to get to it, because it will take some time. I get a lot of these things every day. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.